Another's got 3 monitors acting like he's F1's pride. Malone is laughing, spectating the scene, while we argue in the Discord, keep it mostly clean. It's season 2, we're still wrecking in style, trading paint, trading insults all the while. We ain't pro drivers, but we've got the heart. Just don't break check in turn 1, or your race won't start. Beehive Bill's got the mic, calling every spin. He's trying to stay serious, but he can't hold it in. Car upside down, oh wait, he landed fine. Somebody clip that, we'll watch it one more time. It's season 2, the legend's alive. Patreon chaos, yeah, we're born to drive. From Daytona nights to Watkins Glen walls, we're the kings of the league, at least until the next fall. And there you have it, folks. Season 2, same drivers, same chaos, maybe a little more beer. See you in turn 1.
We are away, we are green, and Matty Gwill gets a nice launch, and the front two have got a fantastic launch ahead of the rest of the field. Look at this, 5, 6, 7 cars side by side as they head up towards turn number 1. Matty Gwill pulls into the lead ahead of Slugger. The rest of them come through, and it looks like they are going to get through, mostly cleaning at the front. There is a little bit of tyre smoke in the background. This is the battle for third. This is Sharky Ackelson and Richard Dempsey. Dempsey on the outside. Ackelson keeps it on the inside. Laity tucks up the inside of Richard Dempsey and moves up to that position into 4th right now. Richard Dempsey down to 5th. Matty Gwill and Slugger stay close at it, but you can see the gap that has already been forming across most of this field. Changes towards the background as that's the number 6 around. Immortal Hitman spins and goes around Aulatufu and Richard Dempsey. Dempsey moved up to 4th. He's now fallen back down the order. He's now down to 6th, but he's up the inside of Aulatufu. Aulatufu, Big Al, he has to let Dempsey back through. And Dempsey's back up to 5th, and in fact Dempsey's going up the inside of Laity. He's going for that move to see if he can try and do it. Slugger has moved into the lead of this race. Matty Gwill's down to 2nd. There's been some mistake for Gwill up towards turn number 1, and it's allowed Ackelson now to get involved in this race, in the battle for the lead. It's 3 wide as they go through. It was Matty Gwill up the inside of Slugger. Slugger holds it ahead though. Matty Gwill looks at the inside of Slugger, couldn't do anything. There's contact in the background, and it looks like that's Checkers around. It is, it's Checkers and Tom Laity, both drivers around in the background. 10, here comes Matty Gwill. Just so much speed out of the final turn, and he moves into the lead. Slugger falls behind. Aulatufu up the inside of Ackelson. It switches back over, and Ackelson can just keep 4th ahead. Try and knock Big Al out of the top 5. But here comes Big Al. He moves up the inside of Ackelson here. Can he make this work on the brakes? He's got that inside line. He's going to try and push it out wide, but the 69 holds it on the outside line, has got some good speed. It's a drag race right now, but it is Big Al's corner. Drivers getting pushed here, and this could be Bob's Jelly getting involved. Bob's Jelly moves to the right-hand side as Slugger moves to the lead. Up front, it is 2 by 2 in the fight for 4th position. It is Al Latufu, Big Al, who holds that in 4th. Sharky Axelson holds 5th, but there's nowhere for him to quite go because he does have Bob's Jelly on his right-hand side. Axelson just has to hold off for now behind Big Al, but he is going to swap over. And he goes to the inside, and Axelson moves up into 4th position. To really make anything of it, or is he? Because Axelson gives him more than enough room. Bob's Jelly onto the grass, ever so slightly there. He's got Genski making a move through. Axelson is around, there's contact with Big Al. He has Luke Sedenga, who's moved into 5th. Looking to the inside. Matty Guil has moved back into the lead. Richard Dempsey in 2nd. Slugger's down to 3rd. And around goes Kyle Genski. Like he's going to get many of them. This is Sharky Axelson. He was fighting for a top 5. He's now in a fight with Turbo Snail for 7th position. He's stuck on the outside of the 85 machine. Turbo Snail's going to be able to get that. Is the 27 trying to get involved. That's Extra Pickles. He's tried to tuck up the inside, just not quite enough overlap. But here comes Axelson again up the inside. He's got Turbo Snail just up ahead onto the braking zone. And the 69 machine, Sharky Axelson, he moves through, he gets that position, the 85, wobbles, slides, Extra Pickles is caught up in it. Up towards the braking zone, turn number 1, Luke Sedenga gets past Big Al, it's 3 wide in the background, who's going to hold on to 2nd position? It is Dempsey. Who's going to hold on to 4th position? Al Latufu is on the outside. He holds it in the 16th ahead of Sedenga and Bob's Jelly. Through the opening 2 turns, and that's a tie. Tried to get up the inside. It's 3 wide at the start of the lap. Laity up to 17th. But a top 5 in this race will certainly be the first step to do that. He's got Sharky Axelson up his inside though. He gives enough room to the 69 machine. It's all going to be about how they run through the final corner here. Luke Sedenga tries to get up the inside. They are side by side now. Sedenga and Bob's Jelly side by side here. As Dempsey and Slugger again side by side. Slugger moves ahead once more as we watch this fight going on right now. As Dempsey allows Slugger to hold that position. Are we going to see it 3, 4 wide possibly up towards turn number 1? Bob's Jelly in the middle here. Are we going to remain 3 wide into the turn? We are. They stay 3 wide. There's contact. And no! It's Bob's Jelly around. He is certainly losing his top 5. Continuing to look at this fight for 9th position. It is Bob's Jelly up the inside of Extra Pickles. It's going to switch over. Extra Pickles is going to get involved there. This is Matt Malone just behind. Malone moves to the right-hand side and gets up the inside of Bob's Jelly. He's looking to get up the inside of Extra Pickles, perhaps, on the brakes. No, he backs out of it. Could Bob's Jelly do something on the exit, maybe? As that was Al Latufu. Big Al off again. No, he stays behind with looking like 2 laps to go. Actually, he's got a great exit there. He moves to the right-hand side. It looks like a slow run for the 27 of Extra Pickles. Matt Malone makes his way through, and it looked like quite an easy move for him after that one. A lot of back markers ahead. Slugger moves all the way to the right, all the way to the left. We saw the same sort of move a season ago at Okayama in the GT4s when Slugger was leading. This time it's for 2nd. Dempsey, what's he going to do? He's trying to catch Slugger out. Which way to go, left or right? Dempsey goes to the outside line. Slugger's got a tighter line. It's going to make him slightly slow into that corner. But can Dempsey get a run out of these first few corners? Because he's going to have to find a run now. Unless Slugger makes some sort of mistake in a final turn like he did a couple of laps ago. Dempsey all over his rear. Is there going to be contact? He moves to the left-hand side. Slugger moves across to defend. Dempsey moves even further across. He's off the circuit to get a quick, tight turnaround if he's able to do it. Slugger runs a slightly wider line off the circuit. That's a slide from Dempsey. Slugger able to hold it ahead at the moment. Dempsey behind right now. Matty Gwill 4 seconds up the road is going to win this race. But who is going to take second? Slugger or Richard Dempsey? We head up to the final few corners. Dempsey goes to the outside. On the penultimate turn, Slugger slides it. They're side by side. There's a little bit of contact. Dempsey touches the glass. We go through the final turn. Slugger up the inside. Matty Gwill is going to win the first round of Season 2 of the Matt Malone Patreon League. Hello and welcome back to the Matt Malone Patreon League. We are here for round number 2 of season number 2 from Lime Rock Park. And aren't we lucky? We have already got the session up and running. We are going to get Atvo's overlays sorted in just one moment's time though, so that we are able to also have a look at how the standings are currently looking in this championship, and also how this event is going to line up. There's been a lot of talk about it in both the Discord and in Matt Malone's Twitch chat, because this event is surely gonna be absolute carnage. It is Lime Rock Park. No chicanes in the mini stocks. I mean, you can't get any more crazy than that, but we are here and we are going to see how this one goes. As everything loads up, let's have a quick reminder of the calendar that is coming up. There has been already a change that we just need to make on our calendar. We are no longer heading across to Mexico City in the GT4s for round 4. We instead are going to be heading across to Spa-Francorchamps for that one. So a little bit of a change in the upcoming calendar, but we have got Okayama next week in the LMP3, so it is going to be an absolutely fantastic race next time out. Of course, we've seen Okayama on the calendar before. We saw it in Season 1. It was the inaugural season opener in the GT4 machines, and it was Matt Malone who ended up coming home to win that one. Will we see his first victory this week or next week? The street stocks going to be carnage. I don't know if we're going to see the championship leaders continuing to hang around the top. Talking about championship leaders, we've got Matty Gwill and Slugger once again in the top 2 spots of this championship after the opening round, kicking it off where they left off in season number 1. Of course, Slugger, the defending champion, took the championship at the final round in Daytona. He is second right now, 4 points behind Matty Gwill. Of course, no drop weeks are going to be applied until round 3, at which point both drop weeks are straight away automatically applied. And what we are going to see is 3 drivers most likely tied for the top spot with a winner piece. That's if it goes the same way as season number 1. Of course, it wasn't until round 5 or even 6, I think it was, that we saw a repeat winner and a driver take their second victory of the season. So will it be the same here? That's what we're going to find out. Let's talk about the car track combo though, because it is going to be a fun one. We are here at the classic layout of Lime Rock Park. No chicanes needing to be competed with in these machines. We are in Lakeville, Connecticut. This circuit then a lot more weathered in, I would say, than the Bend. Of course, the Bend being a very recent circuit opening within the last 10 years. This circuit opened all the way back in 1956, which is over 70 years ago now. No, it's just under 70 years ago. It's almost 70 years ago, 69 years ago, in fact. So very close to being 7 decades old. That is absolutely crazy. Just 7 turns on this 1.5 mile out of the circuit. You can see behind us there we do have the chicane, but all the drivers skipping it. Instead, what we're going to have is that jump. Because we're going over through that right-hander, we aren't going to be slowing down that much, and therefore we are going to see drivers jumping into the air at the top of the hill. Talking about the cars going into the air, let's have a look. We are driving the mini stocks today. It's a 2.3-litre inline 4-cylinder engine with producing just over 200 horsepower. Only 5 gears in this machine. But if as a driver appears from out on one of the second chicanes, it is going to be easy to try and shift into 6th gear when you're going along that main straight chasing somebody down. So many times have I tried to shift one of these things into a gear that does not exist. So we are here then, as I say, around Lime Rock, and we are already into the session. It is the first ever time we've been able to launch straight into a session of a Matt Malone Patron League without having to need any cameras, pre-recorded cameras in the background, which is absolutely awesome. We've got 16 minutes left to go in qualifying, so let's have a look at how that grid stands right now. And whilst that is happening, and we can have a quick overview of everything, we will get the live timing and the sorted, and then I can get my timing sorted, because I have not had, I do not have any information at the moment, which is always fantastic. So I'm going to get my timing screen up so that I can see the qualifying order as well. It is Mecharm out on top at the moment in this session. We've got Richard Dempsey just behind, and then Luke Sudds, who is who is that? That's Luke Sedunga, I believe it is, from last week. So he is a driver that we've seen near that from. We've got intervals though at the moment. Let's change those to gaps so we can see what the gaps are to the leading drivers. Right now, 23 drivers with a lap time. I'm seeing about 10 more who haven't put in a lap time yet. So we've once again got a lovely field of drivers heading out. You don't want to see that. I want to see that. You don't need to see that. There we go. All of my cameras as we're running custom cameras here at Lime Rock Park today. So hopefully I can figure them out and we can give this a go. Right. Let's move a few of these things around so I know what I'm doing. And let's finally go and have a little bit of a look at our drivers who are out on track right now trying to put in some lap times. There is a huge train of drivers coming around, and my word, are they loud. So we're going to get this turned down a bit so that we can hear me, because ultimately my voice is, as we know, absolutely amazing, and that is what you would like to hear. It continues to be extremely loud, these mini stocks, but that is what we absolutely love about racing, is the sound of the machines as they roar around the circuit. Richard Dempsey is up there at the moment. He is 3rd in the championship. He's got Sluggo alongside. You've got Bob's Jelly up there as well. He sits 10th in the championship at the moment. Obviously only 1 round completed. Manny Gwill, championship leader, he's down in 8th at the moment, but nothing to be concerned about, because I am sure we will be seeing him around moving up the order. It's not often we see those championship contenders falling down the championship order. My word, this game continues to be extremely loud. Do keep me updated on the sounds as I try to talk over the top of this order. As I talked about Matty Gwill being further down the order, there he is. And as you can tell, we do not have trading paints open. As always, it is something that they always forget to load. So we are going to get trading paints open here so that we can see our custom liveries of all our drivers, because they are always fantastic liveries that they drive. This is Matty Gwill then, side by side with the 29 machine there, and getting past, that was Jacob Klein, who just moved past there. Over there you can see the rear kicking out. It is easy to do in this car, and I think that is going to be, as Matty Quill abandons that, I think that is going to prove how difficult it is going to be already in qualifying, sliding around these cars. And hopefully we will get some of our paints loaded in, because trading paints is open in the background, so slowly we will be able to see what these cars sound like. Something has definitely just happened up the hill there. We heard a man, there you go, a car stopped on the inside. We heard something massive happen, and there it was. Some frequent names and back inside the top 10 here in qualifying. We've got Luke Suds, like I say, he's Luke Sadonga from last week. One of that. He's up there. Richard Dempsey, Matty Quill, Slugger, all together once more. Bob Shelley's there again. Matt Malone's there. Mr. Anders up there now. He is not a slow driver. He just gets into mistakes and gets collected a bit too often for his liking. He's up there inside the top 10. You've got Tony Jabroni, a frequent visitor last season to the top 10. And you've got Checkers, a driver who could have finished quite well last season, didn't attend all the races and had a few bad ones. He was the first retirement last week, so he's not started this season well. 30 drivers have put in lap times at the moment, 2 drivers in the server without lap times right now. If you are part of Matt Malone's Patreon and you are signed up for this is a free car. It is a free circuit. You can get out there. You can join in, but only very quickly if you're already signed up to the league. We continue to run around right now, and in fact we are looking at Mecharm. Here he is. Coming round, he is the fastest man in the session right now by a 1/10 of a second. But look how close it is between Luke Suds and Richard Dempsey. 3 thousandths of a second separate the two of them. Now, I am going to try something here. This is probably going to be broken and not work. It is broken and it does not work. I thought I sorted my championship standings out. It looks like I have not. Oh, you don't want to see that. I do apologise. Yeah, it looks like I have not sorted out championship standings. But it's not too much of a worry at the moment. Until we get those drop being supplied, the championship doesn't really stand for much. If you want to keep up to date with everything on this league, then head across to beehivebillbroadcasting.co.uk .com. Not that. It's beehivebillbroadcasting.com/Matt Malone, and you can check out the standings, the calendar, and the recent races. Mecharm comes back across the line, see if he can improve in his time. He does not. Time gets put in for the 2:13. It's due. He gets on to an 18th position for his first lap time. Casket Man, the only man in this session without a valid lap right now. Let's go have a look at him. He's getting chased down by a few drivers right now as we return to the food liveries. And in fact, why am I not surprised that the Taco Bell livery is in fact Bob's Jelly? Of course it is. And then that's Luke Suds getting up the inside of Bob's Jelly as well. So the 32 of Casket Man does have one of the fastest drivers in the service so far right behind him. Is that going to be pushing on, or is it going to be making him nervous? He slides through the final turn, certainly doesn't get the speed he would have been looking for as he crosses the line. Is it going to be a valid lap for the Casket Man? It is, and it places him 28th position out of 32 drivers in the server. That is not too bad. 9 minutes on the clock right now. That time was 3.2 seconds off of the fastest time in this server. In this session, sorry. So Mecharm 58.472 right now. Luke Suds, Richard Dempsey not able to close up to that, but Matt Malone has moved himself into 4th position there, which is nice for him. As we watch Matty Quill and a collection of other drivers come across the line here and up towards turn number 1. Some fantastic camera angles we're getting this week as Matty Quill backs out of that one. Matt Malone's got a black flag, so he's doing something he shouldn't, as Slugger is going to look to try and get past his championship contenders of Matty Quill and Richard Dempsey that are ahead of him. Of course, the 502 machine, the defending champion, looking to try and take it back to back. Of course, he was oh, look at that fantastic view. Of course, Slugger did say that he's actually just here for the entertainment, how much fun it is, rather than taking the championship. Of course, that was a benefit last season, and he is straight back within that fight, and he's up inside the top 10, but surprisingly not the top 5 at the moment here in the qualifying session. Here he is, the part of the Team Turkeys there, as he crosses the timing line in his mini stock and heads up towards turn number 1. He gets it close to the curbing. In fact, he kisses it ever so slightly. You can hear the rear end stepping out just a moment, and again he's slightly onto the grass, feathering the throttle, trying to keep it as smooth as he possibly can over the curbing on the inside. Hearing those rumbles, there's a wave on one as we head up now towards the hill. Now, this is where I expect there to be the most amount of incidents in this race, because it's very easy to lose rear end as you go over this jump, keeping it on the surface for Slugger. And I think that once one person slides, there's going to be a whole host of drivers all piling in there. Over 30 machines on a track that takes less than a minute to go around. It is going to be very interesting as Richard Dempsey places it on pole position with 6 minutes to go. Dempsey knocks Meckham out of the pole position spot here by less than a tenth of a second, as the drivers continue to go around to place in lap times and see what they can do. That was a very good lap time by Richard Dempsey. It's just having a look. Bob's Jelly's still out on track right now. He's just coming out of pit lane. In fact, he's just pulling over. How about Jägelbaum? We've got the Jägelbaum out there as he comes around. Matty Quill! Matty Quill now goes fastest in this session. Drivers finding time now. Slugger is going to be sweating a little bit. Dempsey goes back fastest, 2/10 quicker than Matty Quill. Matty Quill has 2/10 over Meckham. It is a fight here in qualifying between drivers in the top 3 in this championship. Drivers who were fighting for the championship last year. Last season, if Dempsey could attend more races than he did, he definitely would have been in that championship fight and would have had a very, very strong chance of winning the championship. Is he coming in strong here? Finished 3rd at the bend last week. Could have taken 2nd from Slugger, but he sat behind just a little bit too long. But when he finally went for the opportunity on the last lap, it was too little too late. No improvement there from Matty Quill. Dempsey has decided, yep, that's the time that I'm going to get. He's now down pit lane. So he has decided to abandon more runs, unless he comes out again, maybe with some fresh fuel, some fresh tyres, and a little bit more fuel. This is the Hernster. He's up in 14th. This is quite nice for the Hernster, as Sean Sim just moves past him actually and knocks him down to 50th. But some lovely liveries running around at the moment. And it's the 2 Canadians side by side on the grid right now. Big Al and It's Due, 16th and 17th position right now. It's the 2 Brits at the top side by side, Dempsey and Quill, as we come up towards the final turn for the Hernster. Kyle Genski moves into 9th. He was a driver that was fighting his way inside the top 10 last week alongside Luke Suds. So some new names coming into this season of the Patreon League and already being competitive consistently over a couple of weekends. It's going to be interesting to see how the championship's going to play out with them. A slide and a big drift from Turbos now ahead of the Hernster there. Casket Man finds another improvement on his lap. He moves up to 26th position right now. Slowest in the server at the moment is Mark Sheets. He's heading around at the back of the field, but every driver of the 32 that have signed up for this race, they have all put in a valid lap as drivers continue to run around this track, as we've got 3 minutes here left in qualifying, as this is Powski running a Richard Dempsey livery here, a very rusty livery. as he heads around and over the crest. It looks like able to keep these cars on the racing surface, not getting any air time, which is good, but how much is that going to change in the race when we're pushing even harder than we are right now? 2.5 minutes left in this qualifying session right now. I'm giving more of my camera angles a go here, see what camera angles we've got to play with as we continue to watch Pasky. He has moved up into 5th position with that lap, a 58.486, so that is only 1800ths of a second off of Mecharm. It places him 0.2 of a second ahead of Matt Malone, and Slugger has fallen to 8th. Luke Suds has moved back into 2nd. He's less than a 10th now away from Dempsey. There's half a 10th in it. Can Luke Suds find any additional time in the 11 car to move into pole position? Of course, Mecharm was the driver in provisional pole for the first half of this session. As we come through turn 3, I believe. No, I think that's turn 4. 1, 2, 3. No, that is turn 3. As we head now into turn 5. Only 7 turns, of course, on this layout. A little bit of a wobble on the 11 car through into the corner and out of the corner. He chases the 2-1-3 machine here. The 2-1-3 machine being It's Due just up ahead. Can Luke Suds find this half a 10th of a second and move his way onto pole position? Of course, it was pole position from Matty Gwill last week. And unlike round 1 last season, it was a pole into a victory. But we saw poles being converted to victories quite frequently in the first half of last season. Actually, all the way through last season, if you qualified on pole, you had a very real chance of winning the race. Dempsey's going to like that statistic because currently he's at the top of this field. He is going to be starting at the front. Penalty for Checkers, he's going to be down pit lane. Penalty for Gabriel Mazzotti, he's going to be down pit lane. As I look through our field, it looks like we have just got a late joiner. Kieran Murray has joined the session, so that means we'll be 33 drivers in this race. No lap time for Tamuri because he has joined right at the very end. Some new names as well as I float through the order, as well as It's Due improves right at the very end. But no, we do not see Provi attending this week's race, which is a real shame for him not to be here this week. Right, let's have a little bit of a look, if I can find my scenic cameras. There we go, at our grid for the start of this one. In fact, we will have to wait for a moment until we are able to get into our grid positions so that we can see the grid. But looking at the order, it is Richard Dempsey out in front. You've got some new drivers then to the league completely that we didn't see last season either that have jumped in today. We've got Wayne Grennan, a new driver today. He's going to start in 24th. Dauntless, I don't think I've seen Dauntless before in 23rd position. You've got Nick Hasling. I think we may have seen him once or twice last season. Looks like Jagelbaum, 19th position in qualifying. It does show him as disqualified, but I believe he may still hold on to that 19th position once we get onto the grid. We saw Dempsey get disqualified last season and still retain his qualifying position. I'm not sure how you get disqualified, to be honest, in a qualifying session. But they are going to be getting themselves onto the grid in just a moment's time, which means we can get a grid shown to you so we can see how this race is going to begin. I believe we've got about 2 minutes in order to talk you through the grid, but we're going to get through it nice and quickly. We've got Dempsey starting on pole position ahead of Luke Suds. Following that is Matty Gwill. Meckarm will start from 4th. Behind him is Pawski. And then Matt Malone will start from 6th. Bob Jelly in 7th. Defending champion Slugger will start from 8th. And then it's Checkers and Carl Genski rounding out your top 10. Mr. Anders will start 11th ahead of Wyatt Wade. Tony Brony in 13th ahead of Turbo Snail. Sean Sims, It's Due, the Hernstar, and Big Al to 18th. It's Jagelbomb and Nick Heslink rounding out your top 20. Minto the White Husky will start in 21st ahead of Jux TV and Dauntless. Wayne Grennan will start in 24th. Casket Man is in 25th ahead of Gabriel Mazzotti and Jacob Klein. Ed Ruffish is in 28th ahead of DDO Deadman and Right Click in your top 30. Greg Gorilla Phonek will start 31st. Mark Sheets from 32nd. And without a lap time, it's Kieran Tamuri at the very back. But we are getting ourselves started here now, as this is our poleman Richard Dempsey. We are green here for 20 minutes of racing. Already drivers moving out of the way. They don't want to get hurt as we head up towards turn number 1. Dempsey leads the way ahead of Gwill. Luke Sudds has settled into 3rd as well. Tony Jabroni behind. It looks like there is an incident. A 24 is around. A few more drivers involved in that one. I see the 14 off as well. It's Sean Sims, the driver that was facing backwards. A couple more cars off in the background, but the front of the field remains on track without issues. Over the crest, the wheels just about staying on the racing surface as we head up towards turn number 6, and they continue through down towards the final turn. More cars going around in the background. It's the 7 and the 25. The 7, the Hernster, a good qualifying position. He's into the wall. It was just losing the rear end out of turn 6, and it looks like he's going to tow in the background. He's come to a stop. This is Mr. Anders. He rounds out the top 10 at the moment as they come through turn number 1. It is Dempsey, Gwill, followed by Luke Sudds. That's your top 3 right now, and his Slugger moved up to 7th. Keep an eye on Slugger. He is going to be a championship contender. He's defending the season 1 championship right now, so keep an eye on how he is going to do. We continue through. This is about midfield now. This is Tony Jabroni in the number 2 machine. He's chasing down Wayne Grennan if he's able to try and gain any positions here. It's about 0.3 of a second between Dempsey and Gwill, and then it's a further 0.7 down to Luke Sudds. The leading 2 have already pulled a little bit of a gap. Slugger moves to the right. He wants to try and make the move past Matt Malone. He's not able to do it. He's chasing down the Turtle livery as the Turtle livery ties up the inside of Pawski. Can't do it on that corner, but he is going to hold the outside line, and if he can keep his nose in, which he has, it turns around once more for him. That's Matt Malone on the inside of Pawski right now. Malone's going to have the inside over the crest. Are they going to give each other enough room? They have. Matt Malone slides in to P5. Pawski down to 6th, and once again here comes Slugger. He goes to the inside in turn 6. There's no contact. It's perfectly clean, and Slugger's going to have to give up that position right now. Pawski remains in 6th. A huge slide from Pawski, a smaller one from Slugger, but they come across the timing line. Dempsey is the fastest man. He's out front by 0.3 of a second. Luke Sudds holds on to that podium nicely as they all come through. Turn number 1 changes for position down the order. This is Wyatt Way. He's moved up to 23rd place right now, but this is the train of drivers that we are tuning into once more, because it is being led by Matt Malone. Then it's following him is Pawski, then Slugger and Bob's Jelly. Slugger onto the grass, over the crest there. The off-track isn't going to mind him. He's just not going to want to throw it away. Out of turn 6 and up towards turn number 7. As we go towards the timing line once more, Slugger still stuck in 7th at the moment, but this train of drivers is absolutely mental. I can't believe they've all kept it on the circuit up at the front right now. As we take a breath, we move away. We don't get the roar of the engines from all the way here in the sky, and I absolutely hate it. We're going to jump back down because I want to hear these engines roar as they scream past the camera. It's Richard Dempsey still leading the way, and Luke Suds is finding time. He has found time. The gap between himself and Dempsey moved up to a second. It is now down to 8/10. We're going to get the intervals once more. Tony Jabroni, Dauntless, they are battling it out as they come up towards the crest here. It is going to be Dauntless on the outside. He has to give that position to Tony Jabroni. Big Al Latufu, championship contender last season, is stuck down here in 18th. He didn't have the best of round 1. He went around a couple of times on the same lap, and it threw him down the order. He started down the order here today. He's down in 18th right now. It's not where he wants to be. He's going to try and make a way. That's the 28 into the wall. Wayne Grennan into the wall in the background, and the 23 of Dauntless dives up the inside of Big Al. As it looks like the 2 of Tony Jabroni went off because he's now behind in what I have to argue is my livery of the day. What a beautiful machine that one is. Back to the racing. Up front, it's Richard Dempsey. 3.5 tenths behind, ahead of Matty Quill. Luke Suds 4 tenths back. Meckham leads the battle behind. Here comes Matt Malone to the inside, and he's going to make the move past Meckham for 4th position. Matt Malone started down in 21st position last week. He moved up 14 places and finished in 7th. He started inside the top 10 today, and he currently sits in 4th. Can he find his way to the podium? It's 2 seconds up the road, but never say never. Matt Malone is quick, and anything can happen, as Gabriel Mazzotti proves that. He is out of this race, and it moves drivers up near the back, up a position. This is the 24, Sean Sims. He went around on the opening lap of the race. As we now watch Mr. Anders, he holds on to a top 10 position, but Checkers, he went out of race 1 last week. Can he move up into that 9th place spot up the inside? In the 21 machine, you've got Kyle Genski just behind. He's looking to break into the top 10 right now and try and get past Mr. Anders. As I keep an eye on all of the other times here, just to make sure that we're not going to be falling or missing any of the fights at the front. The gap at the front has opened to half a second right now, and between Quill and Luke Suds. So that battle has met a stalemate. Matt Malone will be trying to catch up to them. Slugger 1.7 seconds behind Meckham. That's increasing at the moment. But will Slugger be able to find some speed and try to break back inside the top 10 here? Dempsey is looking to continue his streak. Every race Richard Dempsey has competed in, he has finished inside the top 5. That counts all of the races he competed in season 1, which wasn't many, to be fair. It was about 6 of them. He got into top 5 last week. He finished 3rd. He's leading here today. I'm sure Matty Quill, Slugger, championship contenders, will want to also continue to run inside the top 5 and hold that stat here as Matt Malone, a huge slide over the crest, but he holds it. And he remains in 4th, but a big moment for the man in 4th position. He's continuing on right now, and he remains safe. This is Mintu the White Husky. He's in 16th, behind the trees. Let's get a better angle than that. There we go. Is he in 16th? No, he's in 17th. Alatufu is in 16th. It looks like we are getting some issues with our timing again with the update from iRacing. I just need to increase the amount of cars we have on the circuit because there are so many that take part in this league. Some of them aren't displaying all of the time, and we need to fix that. And it will be done. I will fix it for the next race as this continues to be the fight for the lead. If you can call it a fight right now. 0.4 of a second separate them. 0.6 of a second separate them as they come across the line. So it looks like Dempsey can just get the better speed out of the corners, and that time in which we get the slipstream, like now, it's just not enough to pull Gwill back into it. Looks at a second off of Gwill, but that has not allowed Matt Malone to close in. There is still a 2-second gap between third and fourth position, but here comes Pawski up the inside of Slugger. Slugger's wide in turn 1. It will turn to the inside for Slugger in turn 2. Can he hold the position? Yes, he does, because Pawski backs out of it. He could have held it on the outside there, I feel, and tried to get out the inside of turn number 3. Into turn 4, that kink, and up into 5 now. Over the crest. Rather sensible, actually. Could have been a lot more death than there has been in the early stage of this race. We obviously saw a number of cars go around. They have settled themselves down. We are seeing how clean they can drive right now. This is the train of drivers from 6th. And you can see just down outside of the top 10 there as well. As we get on the brakes, this is the fight for 6th. Slugger in the 502, leading Pawski in the 03. We see Ed Redfish and Casket Man. They've both towed to the pits. Ed Redfish went off and out really early on. He was only on at 3. Casket Man was on lap 10. Wyatt Way is towed to the pits as well with a meatball flag. So issues still behind for our drivers. As that's a driver off, that's the 24 of Sean Sims. He is... no, it's not. That was the 29. That was the 29, sorry, of Jacob Klein. Jacob Klein off with damage. Doesn't look like a meatball flag. They do have one free quick repair. He's not taking it. Obviously doesn't feel like he needs it. What might need it is this fight right now. Checkers trying to get involved. And moving past Bob's Jelly. Will this turn nasty, or are we going to keep it clean? Because we do see a mix of drivers up in this order, but it's drivers that we have seen frequently inside the top 10. Genski new this season, but right on the rear, showing he is also going to be one of those drivers we're going to see in a consistent fight for the top 10. Up the inside, once more goes Pawski. That's past the back marker. That is past the back marker, and you can see how much that back marker has helped out Slugger. 2 seconds now between Slugger and Pawski. As they come through the final turn, Checkers up the inside of Bob's Jelly. Bob's Jelly said he wanted some better results this season. Consistently finishing in the top 10 is going to do that. But surely he'll be wanting the top 5 as well, because here comes Carl Genski. And Bob's Jelly moves down to 10th. Number of positions lost there. Half a second between Dempsey and Gwill. We are 6.5 minutes left in this race. And we've still got a few battles going on. This is Alatufu in the 14. Leading, it's Chew in the 213. Leading Dauntless in the 23. And that's a lock up ahead from Alatufu. Big Al. In 15th place, that's the driver of the number 15, Mark Sheets, exiting pit lane. Sheets is in 25th and a lap down. He stays out of the way, doesn't want to get involved in any fight. Talking about fights, can Mecharm get back to Matt Malone. Matt Malone is not going to be able to catch the podium without something happening there. That gap was 2 seconds about 5 minutes ago. It's now 3 seconds. Slugger 4 seconds behind this fight. So Meckham surely will be wanting to get involved in it because he's not got much to lose. DDO Deadman, that's the driver we just saw off of the track there on the exit at turn number 1. No. Yes, it is. As I looked at the map and I saw 18, I thought that was position 18. It was not. It was car 18, who is DDO Deadman. 29th position. Number of cars out this. More than we saw last week at the bend, but that is to be expected. We expected a lot of carnage here. So actually, this has been rather sensible, I would argue, from what we have seen before. Meckham comes round the final turn. It's now about a second between himself and Matt Malone, so that fight might not materialise to anything. This one might, though. 5 minutes to go, and Matty Quill has closed to 0.3 of a second behind Richard Dempsey. Dempsey got pole position. Can he convert that to the win? Matty Quill got pole last week and took the win. It took us until about round 5 or 6 in season 1 to see a repeat winner. Can Matty Quill change that today and go back to back at the start of the season after losing the championship fight at Daytona, the final round in season 1? He's coming back even stronger. He wants those pedals that are on offer to the champion of season 2. Up towards the timing line. Dempsey gets the speed again. There are now back markers in play. They are going to make this interesting. If they hold up Dempsey, it could invite Quill in to the fight for the win. On the flip side, we saw Slugger pull a huge gap over Powski with those back markers. Could this benefit Richard Dempsey? Talking about Slugger and Powski, the gaps returned to about half a second. Slugger has lost out time in that one. We're going to continue watching this fight for the lead right now as they battle their way through the back markers. Dempsey gets to the inside in turn 7. That's the 15 machine. He's slowed right down to let the 2 leaders through, not wanting to get involved in the fight. Matty Quill starting this race in 3rd, of course. He's now up to P2. He has made a nice little move at the start of this race to get past Luke Sudds, and he has stayed on the rear of Richard Dempsey. Just not close enough to make a move yet. We ride on board with Matty Quill. For the first time in this race, we ride on board with somebody around this circuit, running the patron livery of the Matt Malone patrons. Coming through turn number 3, up towards turn 4's King, as that is the 18 off DDO Deadman. He's got a penalty, and by the looks of it, possibly a meatball flat. Definitely damage there. Up towards turn 6, it's 0.6 of a second. Let's see how they run different lines here. They both get the curbing, and they both push it wide, but you can just see there, Dempsey gets a small amount of a fraction quicker on the throttle. A slight wobble there, the gap popped up to 0.7 of a second across the timing line as our fight for 6th rages on. Slugger leading this fight as they get past the 18 of DDO Deadman. It is Powski, Genski and Checkers in this fight. Checkers moves to the right, Slugger's on the right. That means Powski's on the outside of Slugger through turn 1. Checkers backs out of it. Powski is now going to be overtaken by Genski. They run side by side through turn 1. That's Powski on the grass. Can he get back on safely? He does. Checkers has to go slightly wider to avoid it. No contact there. They all remain clean. A big slide from Powski. Is that going to invite Checkers in? It does. Powski gives that position up. And Powski went from trying to make a move past Slugger for 6th to moving down behind Checkers 9th. Another huge slide over the hill there. Can Genski make the move past the defending champion of Slugger through turn 1? a minute left on the clock. And I expect 2 more laps in this race for these drivers. Up towards turn 1. Slugger goes the inside line. There's tyre smoke. A lock-up. Contact. Slugger gets a slow exit. And Genski in the 505 makes it around the 502 of Slugger for that position. Pawski back up the inside of Checkers. Makes the move, but he wobbles again. Checkers back through. Genski in 6th, Slugger in 7th, Checkers 8th, and Pawski 9th. Bob's Jelly is rounding out your top 10 right now, and if he can maintain the 1 second gap to Mr. Anders, it should be okay. Pawski and Checkers slide over the hill. Checkers went all the way to the other side of the circus. Slugger gets the grass. He's off. He gets it back on, but he's down both those positions as we go on to the last lap of the race. Championship defending driver Slugger has blown his engine. Slugger's blown his engine on the final lap of the race. He's out. Championship defending driver Slugger, championship contender, is out here at Lime Rock. He's going to be taking a drop week early on in this one because his 2 championship drivers that he is fighting are going to come around the final turn. Richard Dempsey wins at Lime Rock. Who's going to take 3rd? Because Matt Malone has closed to Luke Suds, but it will be Luke Suds who takes 3rd in that one. Just after I saw that smoke billowing out the back of Slugger's car as he went on to the final lap. A real shame. As the drivers all come to finish here at Lime Rock. What a way to end. What a way to finish that one. And I think it's only fair we have a look at the race results following our round here at Lime Rock. That's the grid. We know the grid. Richard Dempsey wins here, converting his pole position to a victory, meaning so far this season, a major death up at turn 1. So far this season, if you get pole position, you're gonna win the race. Matty Quill took home 2nd in this race, which means he will take the championship, well, hold the championship lead at the moment before any drop weeks are applied. Drop weeks are going to be applied next week after the Yokoyama round, which means technically with a drop week applied for each of them, Dempsey and Quill will be tied on points with a victory apiece. Luke Suds took 3rd in that one. He lost a lot of time at the end. I assume there was some sort of mistake because right on that final lap, I suddenly noticed Matt Malone was 2/10 off of Luke Suds going up towards the final turn. He couldn't quite make it and he took home 4th. Mecom came home in 5th. Just a nice quiet race for him. He just held on to 5th. You know, there's a big gap in front, a big gap behind. So he just came home 5th quite nicely. And then it was that fight with Slugger's group that just somehow didn't have Slugger in it at the end with his blown engine. Carl Genski came out on top of that one and took 6th, just ahead of Pawski, Checkers. And then Bob's Jelly did manage to hold on ahead of Mr. Anders. They rounded out the top 10 in the end, with Mr. Anders taking 10th with Slugger going out. It was then Turbo Snail who took 11th ahead of Jocks TV. Slugger took 13th in this race with a blown engine. Either he continued it around or some of my timings are wrong there, and It's Due, Big Al, Dauntless, Nick Helsunk and Mintu the White Husky were all a further lap down, which I believe may have been the case here. Slugger then took 13th in that one ahead of It's Due, Big Al, Dauntless and Nick Helsink and Mintu the White Husky. Sean Sims took 19th position ahead of Tony Jabroni in 20th. Right click, just missed out on the points there. He was ahead of Jägerbaum and Gabriel Mazzotti. Wayne Grennan, he went around earlier on in the race. We saw that. He was 2 laps down in the end. Ahead of Mark Sheets, the Hernstar and Wyatt Way. Jacob Klein finished 3 laps down, and Didier Dedman, we saw him crawling around. He took home 29th position, 4 laps down. Casket Man went out of the race. He took 30th ahead of Greg Gorilla Fronek, Ed Redfish, and Kieran Tamuri, who all went out of this race. Tamuri did not get a lap in qualifying, of course, joining right at the very end, so just wasn't used to the car and the track, of course, so some issues for him. Next week, then, we are going to be back at Okayama for the second time in the Matt Malone Patron League. We saw it for round number 1 last season. It is round number 3, and we are going to be in the LMP3s. We are not done here, though. Oh, no. We are going to be back here on the Beehive Bill Broadcasting channel because we have another event coming your way. We are going to be having the iRacing Renault Clio League coming for round number 8 in just a moment's time. If you do want to make sure you catch all of these races for the Matt Malone Patron League, be sure to hit that follow button here on Twitch and head over to beehivebillbroadcasting.com/Matt Malone for all of the standings, calendar, and all of the highlights of the races as well, so you can keep up to date of how the league is progressing. Anyway, until next week, where we visit Okayama in the LMP3s, I will see you all next time. But don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back for the iRacing Renault Clio League in just a moment's time.